Thank you for this opportunity. I am Gera. I am a learning facilitator and also I am an academic coach in Kakuma Refugee Camp. I also serve as a community development worker in the community. Here I serve. I also am a researcher, especially the last 5 years I have been doing research in the camp. I research on education related things. I also research in our day-to-day life situations. And so far, I have published a few of my articles. I'm also a refugee. I've been living in the Kakuma Refugee Camp for the last 12 years. Kakuma Refugee Camp is located in the northwest part of Kenya. I believe that I brought new knowledge to the program. I contributed 2 essays. One is related to camp education and the other is related to the camp life. So I contributed this to knowledge to not only to the program, the knowledge even goes beyond that. That's one contribution. The other thing is related to the changing the perspective of professors. While we're doing research, there was interaction. So one of the things that I confirmed is there is a possibility of doing research in the camp. So I have shown that the space is there to provide, to do and contribute research in the camp by ourselves. So this is a very good feedback that actually shapes the perspective of not only the professors that I am attached with, even the other professors' perspective. Usually they think that we collect data and they analyze and they publish. Now, by writing and publishing, we challenge that notion. So I'm sure that changes the perspective of professors. The other thing is related to the audience. There was a problem there to which audience to serve. From my side, I say I want to serve the audience that I think they should know and understand, not only the scholars. But in the case of my professors, they were focusing on the academic excellence. That makes me a good writer, a good scholar, which at the same time alienates me from the community. So the tension between that also changed the perspective of my professors. And now whenever we do it together, we think about public access and we think about how our paper serves the whole community, not only the scholars. In that case, I think that there is a change in perspective. The other thing is also seeing research from different views, not only doing research systematically, doing it, publishing it for scholarly purpose, rather using also research as a space for negotiation and even sometimes to steam off and express our emotions. In that case also, that was an experience that we have gotten in the process of doing research. And the thing that has real meaning to me is related to the stories that they told me implies to the space which I call it I call it what is called a liminal space. Most of the stories implies that the space that they are in, including me, is not as such reliable. It is not a permanent space. Rather, it's not a tempo. It is something liminal in between. So this is what they all expressed, and that means actually something meaningful to me because of my own experience as well. And usually I ask why we cling on hope. And I think I found the answer from this one. Why usually cling on hope is because of the state that we are in. Even though we know that some of the hopes are false or not realistic, we still stick clinging on it because there is no other option and hope can be easily gotten everywhere. When we look at it, you can get it everywhere. So that's very meaningful to me. The other thing is actually that struck me a lot is the vocabularies they use. Some they express themselves as if refugee by default because of the years that they have spent here, or they are born here. Some refer agencies, including UNHCR, our father, which is of course right. Some also say the campus is a prison, a confinement, and they give them different names based on those experience. All these things are meaningful to me. And the other thing that I have learned in the process of researching is the interconnection between the support that we are getting, and understood what protection means from different agencies. What we get and why we get it becomes very clear. And also school as a social place becomes very clear based on the expression of many interviews. Some expressed it as a teacher, as their experience. Also parents expressed it as a parent based on the experience of their children. When it comes to challenge, actually the real challenge that I've experienced when I was doing research is related to my own bias. Always whenever I listen to them, I write, my experience comes out first. So how can I avoid that biasness? My own interpretation has been a challenge. The other one challenge is related to expectation of interviewees, because always such interviews a common practice to us, and it has its own meaning. When somebody is interviewed, it is for something else. So people always expect something. So there was a challenge related to that. Actually, I may say that higher education is not to stay. We do it not to stay alive. Actually, higher education is much more than that. So in general, I may say like this: higher education may help us to understand ourselves and to live a meaningful life. A meaningful life includes actualizing oneself. Actualizing oneself, I mean using the full potential in a way that one wants. But when it comes to the natural way of the common way of saying it is, we may say it for career, or to get some income, or to use for potential to solve a problem like that. But to me, the meaningful life comes first. If you ask me about the camp context, actually, I should say it boldly based on my experience that in most of the cases, we camp residents wanted to use it as a way to break encampment. We use it as a pass so that this camp life becomes behind our life. But I'm not saying that is the only service of higher education. Higher education is for meaningful life and to serve people, or to live one and the way one wants to live. Now, I would say we better break this barrier, the boundary between insider and outsider, so that there will not be one insider or there will not be outsider. Let us be both either insider or outsider. Actually, this is what I clearly understood when I was researching with my colleagues, with my professors. They are outsiders and they are in a privileged position, and I'm insider here. I didn't have all the required resources. I didn't have access to information. So there is a structural barrier. Let us remove it, the structural barrier. I don't believe that individual effort will challenge that structural barrier. That structural barriers are institutionalized, so one needs to work to avoid those structural barriers. Of course, based on my own experience, I saw the goodwill of individual professors. I have seen it. I enjoyed that type of thing. But it can only serve a few individuals. It doesn't serve all other people. So if we all have to be an insider or outsider, that structural barrier needs to be removed. And the other thing is, we should not focus on extracting information from the camp. Let us extract it together. Let us analyze together. Let us see the outcome together. Let us learn from it together. Let the outcome box and see what it means. Otherwise, it becomes merely extraction, and we reduce ourselves to objects. And also, researchers, let us not mix responsibility. Let them come as a researcher only. If they add additional responsibility, it dilutes the entire process.